Friday Night Funkin. This is honestly a game I knew nothing about until tons of people started commenting on my Gygus Origins video saying, "This looked like the guy from Friday Night Funkin'." And needless to say, I checked out the game and I was flabbergasted that I hadn't even heard of it up until that point. The game literally seemed to come out of nowhere. With its colorful, memey personality and luscious music, Friday Night Funkin' aims to transform a traditional rhythm game into something much, much more. But where did this cult phenomenon come from, and how in the heck did it get so popular in the first place? Well, that's exactly what we aim to find out in today's video. If you know anything about me, you know that I love uncovering gaming backstories and theories, so strap yourselves in and get comfortable because we're about to go all the way back to the beginning in hopes of discovering the history of this fascinating title. And of course, subscribe and obliterate the like button for the algorithm and all that other stuff because I truly, truly appreciate it. Without further ado, this is the story of Friday Night Funkin'. Okay, I'm gonna date myself a little bit here, but for the entirety of my middle school years, I perused the internet at the local library. Yes, I'm so old that I didn't even have the internet at my house. Of the many now defunct websites I used to visit, one of the most memorable for me specifically was Newgrounds. Newgrounds was a birthplace of internet memes before memes even existed. And even more than that, became a mecca for early games developed in Macromedia Flash, or Flash for short. I would spend hours scrolling through the various forums and pieces of media, and in hindsight, Newgrounds really established my love for surfing the web. At its inception, Newgrounds was a website about passion. Website founder Tom Fulp started his Newgrounds journey all the way back in 1991 when he was only 13 and obsessed with the Neo Geo. He created a fanzine called Newground, which was distributed to over 100 people via a website hosting service. Eventually, his drive to connect to like-minded individuals launched the website Newground Remix in 1995 and even encouraged him to create a few Flash games of his own. Over a period of 20 years or so, Newgrounds has become a place for people to connect and find common ground with interests in cartoons, comedy, video games, memes, comics, you name it. But arguably the most famous thing Newgrounds will be remembered for is the immense and diverse collection of Flash games. Some games are superbly animated, others sloppy and hilarious, but as a whole, it offered a unique gaming experience you just couldn't get from plain AAA titles being released for Nintendo, Sony, or Microsoft consoles. Perhaps the greatest aspect of these Flash games was the amount of passion that was present in so many of them. People were devoting hundreds of hours of their own time to create games that weren't aiming to make them any money or notoriety. They just made the games because that's what they loved doing. So what does all of this have to do with Friday Night Funkin'? Well, just bear with me here, because it's about to get interesting. Fast forward all the way to 2020 with a gaming competition known as Ludum Dare. Never heard of it? Well, I actually, to be honest with you, I haven't heard of it either until I made this video, but it's an example of what is known as a game jam, a contest where an individual or team attempts to create the best game they can in a small amount of time. Ludum Dare originated from a forum back in 2002 and over time has evolved into a full-fledged gaming contest held twice a year with thousands of competitors. Notable designers such as Minecraft's creator Marcus Persson have competed in the renowned competition multiple times and helped draw major attention to it in recent years. Ludum Dare is unique in that each competition has a specified theme. Whether the designers have to combine two dissimilar gaming genres together or create a game without direct interactions, the result is always interesting. In October of 2020, Newgrounds user and programmer Cameron Taylor, or Ninja Muffin 99, found out that Ludum Dare 47 was about to begin shortly, and he floated the idea of creating some sort of a rhythm game, which loosely fit with the in a loop category the contest was requiring. However, he needed a team if he had any hope of finishing things in a timely fashion in accordance with Ludum Dare's rules. Resorting to garnering support via Newgrounds, he first contacted Kawai Sprite for the game's music. After some time searching for artists, he eventually came into contact with Phantom Arcade and Evil Skater. With a 72-hour weekend and the team assembled, they set off to create what would be the very first build of Friday Night Funkin', which would now be known as the prototype. Friday Night Funkin' had a generic enough plotline. There consisted of a few characters: boyfriend, a guy who says beep boop, his girlfriend that he loves dearly, and her parents, who will stop at nothing to deter boyfriend from being with their daughter. Oh, and did I mention that the parents are literal demons? So yeah, they've got that going for them. With the masterfully crafted music from Kawai Sprite, Friday Night Funkin' played as a rhythm game, but unlike games like DDR, acted more as a duet. The enemy of the stage would sing a tune and execute some notes, and then you, playing as boyfriend, would do the same. The notes would play as the voices of the characters, which gave the game a little bit of uniqueness and charm not replicated in the genre. In addition, the art style was reminiscent of old internet memes and flash games often present on Newgrounds, a website the creators flourished in. Phantom Arcade would start with the character designs, send them to Evil Skater for tweaks and style, and then he'd send them back for the final details. Everything from the exaggerated expressions emblazoned on the characters' faces to boyfriend's, blue balls were meme-worthy styles the two of them thought would work well in the game. It was a grueling 3 days, but the team was able to produce a semi-workable demo in time for the contest's conclusion on October 5th. Unfortunately, despite all of the work that the team put in, they were unable to win Ludum Dare 47. Actually, it wasn't really even close. I mean, the highest score that the team got was in audio at 15th place. However, tons of people provided positive feedback to Cameron and the rest of the team, prompting him to release the game outside of the contest. After Ludum Dare 47 concluded, Ninja Muffin 99 and the rest of the team still had plans to continue working and improving the game, though not full-time. But responding to various requests and using a familiar platform, the game was eventually released to Newgrounds on the 1st of November. Much to Cameron's surprise, Friday Night Funkin' was an instant fan favorite. The game garnered some attention on Twitter throughout October and November between its original prototype build and the Newgrounds release, but it really started growing in immense popularity thanks to TikTok in early December. There was a lot of positive reception and high praise for its music, charm, and art style. At the time, the game was only considered to be a demo, and that much more content and cameos were in line to be added before the game was considered finished. Over the course of a few months, Cameron and the team, driven by the success of their initial demo, amped up their focus on the game, producing almost episodic installments known as weeks, where a different antagonist would appear that Boyfriend would have to fend off using his supreme arrow skills. Branching out further during the subsequent chapter's development, Ninja Muffin and his team incorporated additional guest characters like Pico from Pico's School, a notoriously taboo Newgrounds flash game based on a school shooting, and Skid and Pump, a duo that originated from a popular Newgrounds cartoon. Before we knew it, there were several weeks released of the game onto Newgrounds and other sites, and popularity of the game was only continuing to grow at an exponential pace. And when Week 4 released, along with that song, yeah, you know the one, Friday Night Funkin's music had gone from good to amazing. Kawai Sprite had unlocked some potential down within him that just clicked with people instantly. Constant plays of M.I.L.F. erupted over TikTok and YouTube, and remixes and fan videos went along with it. By week 5 and 6, the game was on top of the world, and it seemed like each installment was getting better and better. Friday Night Funkin' had taken the internet by storm, amassing millions of downloads and YouTube views. People simply couldn't get enough of the game and the inspirations behind it. But why did the game explode so quickly? How could a game that is so basic garner an immeasurable support from the Newgrounds and YouTube communities that it literally broke the internet? I have a few ideas and supporting evidence that I've gathered from around the web that might help us figure it out. The first thing to note here is that Friday Night Funkin' is not simply just a rhythm game. Unlike the popular installments in this genre like Dance Dance Revolution, Parappa the Rapper, and Rhythm Heaven, Friday Night Funkin' has extensive lore and veils itself ever so slightly behind a story that can be interpreted in multiple different ways. On the surface, things seem so ridiculously simplistic that we can only let our minds wander and create alternate storylines and such based on the subject matter. Contrary to a game like Earthbound, which has tons of subliminal messages and themes, Friday Night Funkin' never takes itself too seriously, which ultimately results in some outlandish but fun fan theories and surmising. Kawai Sprite relied on heavy inspiration from Vib Ribbon type music, which is evident in Boyfriend's beep oop voice and is on display in the video that he posted to his Twitter. Using the popular music software Ableton 11, Kawai used a wide array of techniques to create some voices for the various characters within the game, including a frequency shifter for Pico and a modified octave of Boyfriend's voice for Daddy Dearest. The music is simple enough, but it just kicks so much butt that people just want to sing along to it and create remixes, and it's a good time. In addition to this is the collective audiences that Friday Night Funkin' attracted during the height of its popularity, which you could argue is still ongoing. On one hand, the game draws heavy influence from the early days of Newgrounds and the proliferating amount of Flash games present on the website. This helps draw an older millennial crowd with a familiar sense of nostalgia when playing the game. I can tell you from first-hand experience, this is exactly the reaction I had when I played it. On the other hand, Friday Night Funkin's omnipresence on social media platforms like TikTok helped introduce it to younger audiences, because I'll be honest with you, I've never even been on TikTok before. It was simply one of those multi-generational games that brought people together because of how fun it was. Friday Night Funkin' was simply the right game at the right time. One of the most important details about the release of Friday Night Funkin' is not only the fact that it was made available to play on Newgrounds, but that it was also released in open source. What does this mean? Well, it allowed the game to launch a healthy, active modification community that would expand the game's lifetime tremendously. In fact, even though the actual game's development team produced 7 quality weeks worth of content and an intro tutorial, modders pushed the envelope even farther by incorporating completely new characters into the mix. These characters came with their own original song and varying degrees of difficulty. Even more hilarious was that some popular icons like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo even had the chance to shine in this modification-heavy world. Some of the mods of Friday Night Funkin' were so well made, actually, it was kind of hard to distinguish the art style and gameplay mechanics from the actual base game. If you look at any major PC-based game within the last 20 years, one of the most important aspects of their longevity lie with replayability and modification. I mean, just look at something like Grand Theft Auto 5. I mean, that game's been out forever. Or Skyrim, for example. All of those games have a lot of modifications out there. As long as gamers are able to craft new worlds out of the source material or even play through another's ideas, it causes the game to have an extended lifespan. Considering Friday Night Funkin' was a free game, any effort to preserving the relevance of a game on YouTube and TikTok would pay dividends when it came to the game's legacy. And preserve it did. Friday Night Funkin' and its mods were being played all across the world and even to this day show no signs of letting up. Granted, at the time of this recording, the game itself hasn't even been out a year, but the modification community is alive and well. What makes the modification community of Friday Night Funkin' stand out, though, is the quality that some of them embody. I mean, most of the mods that I've played are just as good as the original game. Take the Tabi mod, for example. I mean, his voice just hits so different, but it sounds absolutely incredible. One of the biggest reasons for Friday Night Funkin's growth revolved around the team's willingness to expand the lore or toy around with fan theories relating to their favorite characters. Examples of this include Pico and Boyfriend actually being in a previous relationship, which explains the reason for their strife in Week 3's installment, and the fact that he comes to Boyfriend and Girlfriend's rescue in Week 7. This was confirmed by members of the team in a livestream. Newgrounds founder Tom Fulp even jumped on board with this canon by revising the Newgrounds game for April Fool's Day, ending with a Pico Boyfriend moment at the end before reverting the game back the next day. Fulp did his best to promote Friday Night Funkin' because it had a positive effect on traffic to Newgrounds and also helped promote some of the content on the site. Friday Night Funkin' reached absolute internet insanity in the spring of 2021 as an additional Week 7 update was dropped exclusive to Newgrounds featuring the iconic mascot Tank Man and arguably the catchiest song of the entire game in Ugh. Yeah, it's really called Ugh. This update also ramped up the difficulty quite a bit, and I even found myself struggling to complete guns on the hardest difficulty setting until a few dozen tries had passed. The update was so highly anticipated that it actually caused the entire Newgrounds site to go down from the extreme levels of traffic it saw during the day of its release. Friday Night Funkin' was on a whole other plane of existence, and people just couldn't get enough. Cameron's eventual goal with Friday Night Funkin' was to create something that could stand the test of time. He didn't want a game that would blow up and fizzle out before you knew what hit you. In addition to this, he could always see the game getting released on Steam or Nintendo Switch as a fully fleshed out title, making him real money, and making it as a game consisting of 20 or so weeks. Then, on April 18th, 2021, the team agreed to promote a Kickstarter entitled Friday Night Funkin', the whole ass game. The campaign had a modest $60,000 goal, which was absolutely shattered within hours of it going live, and by the time the campaign ended on May 18th, over $2.2 million had been raised, making it one of the most successful video game Kickstarters of all time. The full version of Friday Night Funkin' seeks to expand the lore of the series by adding cutscenes between each stage. There were a laundry list of other new ideas that would help cement the game as something worthy of a mainline release on consoles and Steam. This included new songs, characters, local and online multiplayer, leaderboards, an epilogue filled with its own weeks and songs, another difficulty level, better mod support, and much, much more. At the time of this recording, the team is shooting for a release sometime in 2022, and fans of the game are salivating at the mouth for a chance to play through the full experience. Despite the overwhelming amount of success Friday Night Funkin' had garnered, not all was sunshine and roses. Whenever you open Pandora's box of modifications within a game, there's bound to be a fair share of controversy along the way. Some of these strife-related tensions boiled over about how some of the mods were copying off of others, resulting in individuals being banned, harassed, and disowned from the very communities they grew to love. You know, basic internet trolling stuff. Friday Night Funkin' had transcended from an innocent fan game to something that people took more seriously than their own lives. The Sky mod came under fire when NSFW images surfaced of the character believed to be underage, though that was officially debunked by the mod's creator. And most notably was the Brightside mod creator, who was caught communicating with a minor in some very inappropriate ways. Not even the development team of the game could be completely saved from the insurmountable level of drama being slung left and right. Creator NinjaMuffin99 even came under fire in January and February of 2021 for tweets he made in 2018 and 2020 that were labeled as racist and transphobic. It's all summarized in this YouTube video that I'll leave a link to in the comments. I won't tell you which way to think, I'll leave that up to you to decide, but these posts caused him to release an apology statement for fear of being cancelled, and lucky for him, appeared to work for the most part. I'm sure he actually lost a little bit of fans in the mix. Many felt that this apology seemed disingenuous and called on others to boycott the game and its creator for his racist tweets. There were even some campaigns to have black developers come up with their own version of the game to promote instead of Cameron's. Of course, the statements were bad, but many stood up for Ninja Muffin, stating that he didn't act like that anymore, and it was just from when he was younger, and the comments shouldn't be held over him forever. Ironically, this cancel attempt failed, and the associated user ended up leaving Twitter, based on some artwork they stole and edited for themselves. I'm not entirely sure if that's the reason, but that's what I heard. There was also an incessant array of copypastas floating around to try and get him canceled that also mostly failed. Perhaps the most interesting dive into controversy that has never been fully explained was from a post that Cameron made on Newgrounds, which made it appear that he and Kawai Sprite were in the middle of some sort of court battle. In early June, he posted that he and Kawai settled some sort of dispute out of court, which, although he insisted was real, never really elaborated on in the slightest. The result created a massive firestorm from Newgrounds and fans throughout the community. Some just thought it was a simple troll, while others provided confirmation that the post was real and that he shouldn't have said anything about it in the first place. What was this about? Was there some sort of recording studio deal that went south? A copyright infringement? Something different entirely? Is this all sort of an elaborate hoax? Well, whatever it was, it didn't seem to affect Ninja or Kawai's activity on the project because, checking for updates on both of their social medias, production of Week 8's material appears to be unaffected and neither are responding to this topic anymore. Whatever the result of controversy, it is no question that when a game blows up to the level that Friday Night Funkin' is, it's bound to exist at some level. There's no question of that. At the end of the day, Friday Night Funkin' has changed internet gaming culture forever. It may not have quite reached the level of Undertale in 2016 as far as hype goes, but it's pretty dang close. The accessibility and enticing simpleness the game possesses is inviting. The expansive modification community and lore is exciting and promises that the game could live on for quite a long time without everyone getting bored and moving on to something else. Although the game is still in its infancy, I look forward to seeing what can become of it in the future. Only time will tell whether the game will crash and burn or become the next gaming phenomenon. I'm rooting for the latter because I think the game and its community have what it takes to launch it into gaming history. What are your thoughts on Friday Night Funkin'? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Let me know in the comments below. As always, this has been Press Start to Continue, and I'll see you next time.